Hello, and welcome to the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Okay, hi, and welcome to the September 16th, 2022 edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with me, Shelley Overton, your astrologer in Orlando, Florida. We are going to be going over the astrology for the week of September 16th through the 23rd. Well, 22nd probably. Anyway, welcome. We are going to go over a little bit of what's going on here. I'm going to move this light right on out of my face so I can see the chart. Anyway, I had a good birthday last week. It was very nice. Went out with the family, and I did that the night before, and we had a really nice time in a new restaurant, which, by the way, was astrology themed. So I was very excited about that on the campus of UCF, which is University of Central Florida. And the roads there are named after the different zodiac signs. So I think it probably was a nod to science and space. But of course, as an astrologer, I always take it as a nod to astrology. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Anyway, this is our chart. I thought I would try to set it up this week so you could actually see the chart and I could move the mouse and cursor and indicate what I'm talking about. So it would be a little bit easier for you to understand as I'm discussing it. And so we're just going to go around the chart right now. This is a chart for 12 o'clock noon on September 16th in Orlando, Florida, which gives it roughly a 26, well, that right there, 25 degree Scorpio rising. And so we've got Moon in Gemini, conjunct Mars in Gemini. This energy is really strong energy, combining home and family, but also drive and communication. It's a really strong energy around siblings. So you may be going to see a sibling, or you could be interacting with neighbors and, having an emotional event that might trigger maybe even, anger. I was going to say road rage probably comes to mind for this specific conjunction, because the moon can make us super in our emotions, and then Gemini puts us right in our minds, in our analytical side. And so what happens is we think about things analytically, but then infuse the emotion, especially with Mars, which, as I've said many, many times, it is kind of an expression of anger. And so when you combine this emotionalism of the moon with Mars, you're really kind of combusting the energy. And it isn't technically combust because that's the sun and Mercury, but it's kind of a similar thing. It would be the moon kind of is a satellite to the sun and really brings in the reflection of the sun. Of course, we just had a Pisces full moon. And so next week, well, I say next week because I'm recording this, well, it's actually this week, but I'm recording it early because I've got a few I have to record this week because I will be out of town through the end of the month, and I want you to have all your podcasts. So the moon just last weekend was full, and so now it's on its way down. It's waning. So it's, I think, the last quarter on this particular chart because it squares the energy of Pisces, which is where it was at when it was full. So you get, quarter way around. The moon has moved one quarter around the earth. And so now it is squaring where it was when it was full, and it's on its way down. When it gets to the opposite side, we'll have a new moon again, which is in a week after this particular reading. So the moon, again, family, home, domesticity, energy around nurturing, but now it's conjunct Mars, it's in Gemini, so it translates a lot of emotion into intellectualism and analysis, and then it expresses it out with Gemini, so it's chatty, it wants to talk about emotions, about feelings, and it wants to express it. So Gemini rules short distance travel, it rules vehicles, it rules technology. And so we're seeing this energy express, oh gosh, there we go. We're seeing this energy express out as maybe agitation, irritation with family members, siblings, and then neighbors, or potentially people that are driving down the road next to you. Long-winded explanation of that. Anyway, we're moving around. There's no planets, not that there aren't asteroids. I didn't do a chart this week for asteroids. Ceres is in Leo. So Leo has an asteroid, and Ceres, Ceres, is the ruler of agriculture and food stuff, things like that. Kind of, I think of farms. I think of, agriculture and farms when I think of Ceres. And so in Leo, it is about the creative aspect of that and maybe doing something more creative. I would say this time of year, we're probably getting into corn maze era or time of year. So now is the time they're probably starting to get those corn mazes mowed in, ready for the end of September when they open up the corn mazes. And that would definitely be in Ceres in Leo energy. So nothing really else over in the Cancer Leo area. And then we move over to Virgo. Virgo has 14 degrees Venus. And of course, Mars is squaring Venus today, which isn't particularly fun. It means that women are, well, they're both analytical. Let's just call it what it is. They both are ruled by Mercury. So Venus in Virgo is very tangible, practical, and more about paperwork and lists and, written things. And then Gemini is much more about the idea and information coming through the brain. I mean, they both can get really bogged down in a lot of hamster wheel thinking, but Mars is the physical act of doing something, it's taking an action, where Venus is much more receptive, feminine, emotional energy. So we're really seeing the differences between the genders accented in this particular aspect. And so, yeah, Venus in Virgo, she's much more demure. She wants to be in her manners. She expects others to be mannerly. She is probably more closed off from others, being that Virgo is the sign of the hermit. And so she really isn't, she's probably a little bit more anxious about being around a lot of people. This particular chart shows her up here in the kind of the fame area of the chart, definitely career. Really, Virgo Libra energy is very strong librarian energy. Virgo is teacher energy. So she can be very much like, come on, class, let's all just mind our manners at this time. Where the class down here in the youthful energy of Gemini is saying, I don't have patience for this. I've got to go and I got to do and I want to learn and I want to speak up because it's about talking. Gemini rules conversation and communication because Mercury does. But, Virgo is a really strong sign for the tangible male energy. This male. There we go, male. And Gemini would be having fun. My daughter has Jupiter and Gemini in her career house. It's really funny. She is a teacher, an elementary school teacher in training, but she's so cute because growing up, she always used to say she wanted to go to Target and be the one who straightens out all the CDs in the music department, or she wanted to sort mail at the post office, which both would be really wonderful energies for Mars and Gemini. Postal workers and people who sort would be probably Virgo. My daughter has Virgo in the first house of self, but Virgo really likes sorting and organizing any of the material signs, the earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they like that kind of physical sorting, energy organizing, keeping things all neat and contained. Opposite, or not opposite, that square each other, they're at odds. Venus wants to have things mannerly and demure and quiet, where Mars in Gemini is loud and boisterous and social. So we will see a conflict there between authority figures in the Virgo energy, teachers, and the children acting out. This can also be parents, especially Virgo parents, and children. Mars in Gemini, if you are finding out you're pregnant, could be twins. A lot of kids are born twins in the sign of Gemini, or their parents conceived in Gemini with Moon and Gemini, Moon, Mars, Gemini, strong conception energy around twins right now, especially if it's in your lineage. And then the Sun in Virgo. So it is also highly focused on health and medicine and service, human resources, and let's see, military, all the usual suspects. So yeah, Virgo really wants to just make sure everything is taken care of and all the paperwork is contained and on the right path. Now, that being said, both Virgo and Gemini are answering to Mercury right now. And of course, Mercury is here in Libra retrograde. So what does that mean? Well, Mercury in Libra is about balancing and cooperation with others. It is the diplomat of the zodiac. And because he's retrograde, he is the messenger god, which means he is the one who delivers your mail. He is the one who gets the information to you. And in retrograde, he's going back over the information that has already been presented. He's going back over anything that relates to partnership, balance, cooperation. This could be business or spouses, so it's marriage or business partners, and trying to see if they're where they want to be, if we're cooperating in a way that's conducive to going forward. Anything that we've already gone over as far as partnering, we're going to go over again because that's what Mercury does. And as he gets farther back, he goes back into Virgo, which of course, by the time he gets into Virgo, probably the sun will be right there with him. And yeah, so Mercury gets into Virgo on the 23rd. And so that's when he kind of snaps to attention and says, this isn't okay with me. It's not, it's messy basically, and we need to clean it up because that's what Virgo does. Virgo cleans. Mercury, Virgo, and Cancer and the moon, they're all cleaning energy. They like to clean things up and get things going on the right path. So once that happens the 23rd, that's when we're really going to see the energy come in and be much more persnickety per se. Yeah, the sun will be at like 29 degrees. And of course, so that's a conjunction between Mercury and the sun on that day. What is Mercury and the sun? That is combust. So combust means that the sun and Mercury are together and the sun overtakes the energy. So it kind of outshines the energy of Mercury, but at the same time, they are acting in tandem, they are acting as one. And so our ego, which is the sun, and Mercury, which is how we think of things, are cooperative and on the same path. Being at 29 degrees, I would say this is an accident energy. Just be super careful and cautious and aware that accidents can happen more likely on that day, on the 23rd. Hoping, here's our weekly knock wood. I'll be traveling and I'm really hoping I won't be flying on that day, but can't guarantee it. So just know that it does rule transportation because Mercury is in that energy of, well, its own energy in Virgo. And then I think Mars is still going to be in Gemini, but it won't be late degrees. So it won't be a direct square on that day to the conjunction of Sun and Mercury, which is really a nice benefit, actually, if we have to have it. So yeah, Sun, Mercury, it is technology. And again, end degrees, last degree, 29 degrees. It is the end of something and something that maybe comes to light that we didn't know earlier. Oh gosh, let me see. Yeah, so my daughter ordered a new iPhone, which comes on the 16th, which is today. I think that it was released on the Mercury retrograde, which was last weekend, but it's seriously the first 3 weeks of the new release, it's Mercury retrograde, which I find really interesting because that is a technological thing. And it's really, in my opinion, as an astrologer, I would not release a technological item, especially retail, on a material Mercury retrograde, which Virgo Mercury retrograde is going to be very materialistic because it's an earth energy. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn all relate to how the item is in the physical world. So, is it surviving or is it end degrees, which means probably not going to work, which tells me that there are going to be a good amount of iPhones that are going to have technological glitches because of that release and because of when people receive them. So it's unfortunate. I tried to dissuade my daughter. She wouldn't have it. But the good news is she did order it on a Moon-Jupiter conjunction, which positive energy, but at the same time, Moon-Jupiter is transformation transition and can also indicate another like catastrophic ending. Anyway, one more knockwood for that phone. We'll cross our fingers. It's going to be a lavender one, should be a nice one. Anyway, it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It is just a heads up. These energies are out there in the sky. Some people have Mercury retrograde in their chart. I do. I have Mercury retrograde at 4 degrees in my natal chart. And so when Mercury retrogrades, things tend to loosen up and go my way because I'm used to the energy, and that's what I was born into this world under. So it's kind of like I'm in a return of the same energy. The angels are really in this reading right now because my nose keeps itching every time. So if you see me cut out and glitches, it's because my nose itches. Itch, glitch. Okay. And Mars in Gemini is a punster, by the way. The trickster and the punster. Okay, we've got Pluto in Capricorn, and there is a grand trine energy. If you can see this, there is 23-degree Virgo Sun, trining 26 Pluto, trining 18-degree Uranus, and that also, it goes to the Sun and it goes to Venus. So we're looking at this energy, really Venus and the Sun, trining Uranus North Node, trining Pluto, really potent, major explosive energy going off in personal areas. So the Sun is identity, Venus is our desires and feminine energy, women, love, and money. Uranus, technological, tech stocks, STEM. It is love and money because it's in Taurus, and its values. North Node, 4 degrees off of Uranus, is going to bring in a significant fate moment. And Pluto can also be a type of fate. It is the hidden. It is Plutonian, which means very warrior energy, explosive. N degrees of Capricorn. It is retrograde. So there's something that we're going back to that is what I see this as. It does relate to personal life. So in our personal life, Virgo is going to be at the apex because those are the personal planets. So the ego and Venus and desire, this is desire for things to go smoothly in an orderly fashion, in a mannerly way, in a considerate, sincere way, altruistically, so giving without expectation of receiving back. And then the energy of Virgo, is talking to the energy of Taurus, which is also feminine, and Capricorn, which is also feminine, but they are the Pluto Uranus North Node energy is much more life-changing energy. And because it's a trine energy, grand trine, it's going to be more emotional. So definitely, I would say over the course of a couple of weeks, because Venus is going to be, Uranus and Pluto are retrograde. They're both going to be pretty stationary at those degrees for a while. And Venus is going to be hitting that energy within this week. And then Sun is going to be exact trine to Pluto in 2 days and then move on from there, but it will still be around. And that energy is the ego breakdown. So we see where we have an attachment to things going a certain way. I would say definitely Cancer planets are going to have some energy with this, but fortunately Cancer, being the home and family, it's going to be more around home, but it's sextile to the Sun energy. So if you're a Cancer person, you've got late degree Cancer, which is right around late July or mid-July 20th energy generally. And you're going to have positive things come out of personal relationships while having kind of more career and life purpose energy being explosive down here with the Pluto energy. I feel like somebody's touching my head. I hope not. Anyway, I don't know what that is. Yeah, so the Cancer energy definitely is kind of right between the Taurus and the Virgo. So they're going to have a lot of energy with Pluto, but it's going to be more cooperative, but there will be major changes coming in, and it will be energy that has to be presented to you. In other words, this is something that is meant to happen, but it will ultimately be cooperative. So you're going to see that kind of energy coming in with Taurus, Virgo, and then Cancer splitting the difference. Yeah, and then the Capricorns, you're going to have energy probably more around work and money. because your energy is focused mostly on the change and shift into your own personal energy as it relates to the other. So you're going to be more focused around Capricorn, and then Taurus is money and independence, and Virgo is about doing the task and following it through to the end. Taurus, it's going to be mostly about having freedom and personal autonomy, and as it relates to your values. So because Pluto is late degree Capricorn in trine to your Uranus and Taurus, those two energies trining are going to be really focused on having a say over money and your value, where the Virgo side of it for you is going to be more about home and family. Let me see. No, it'll be like children and children in their education, and being more of a role model for them and what you can do to guide them towards a better education and really follow through with what they need to do, task oriented. And then Mercury is squaring a lot. It's in conjunct to Taurus, and it is trining to Gemini. It is in conjunct to Pisces and trining Saturn, and then a square to Pluto. Although Mercury currently is not square to Pluto, it's actually approaching the trine when he goes back into Virgo, like I said, next week. So the 23rd, there's going to be a trine to that Pluto then. So one more week, and then you're going to have this super strong energy around home and family, going into having a little bit more independence and autonomy around children and wanting to be free of children, quite honestly. Maybe older children flying the coop and, leaving the nest. Okay, so I'm going to go over the week and let you know what's going on with that, what you can expect. New glasses from my birthday. Thank you to my sister. Look at the cute little polka dots. You probably can't see them. I'll show you. How about there? See if you can see them. Polka dots. Anyway, yeah, Friday the 16th, going to be strong energy with the moon in Gemini. All the things we kind of just said. Venus square Mars at 2:49 p.m. Eastern, Sun opposite Neptune on this day at 6:21 p.m. So the Sun is, again, sense of self being broken down by Neptune. Neptune is the collective, it's the emotion. I'm not really sure when the funeral for the Queen is going to be. I know she's going back to England, to London. But I've got question mark funeral for the Queen on Sunday. But we'll talk about that in a second. All the energy on Friday we've kind of discussed. There's a sextile between the moon and Chiron in Aries, so that's going to be more in your own personal power as you deal with some of the emotional issues for men, and men have a better ability to discuss what's really going on with them. With the moon in Gemini, they're going to want to talk about something on a personal level with family members. Much more assertive, chatty, can be condescending or a know-it-all, but not necessarily, although Aries energy can definitely be that. And a square to Venus in Virgo, which is, like I said, trying to be much more demure, not happening with the moon in Gemini. Saturday, we have a trine of moon to Saturn. So that's going to be a real mental kind of anxious energy. A lot of overthinking, a lot of mental clarity comes in though. And if you're in your higher power, you will get the mental clarity. If you're in your lower ego state, you're going to be much more upset and mentally agitated on that day. Moon squares Neptune, like I said. And then the Sun square Virgo, moon in Virgo. This is education. It is also delusional. If it's acted out in a public venue, it can be more delusion around how things are seen, and they're not cooperative because the Sun in Virgo squaring moon in Gemini is going to feel like you need to have your say. And because the moon's in Gemini rules education, on elementary education, it's Saturday, thankfully, but it can have something to do with children. So if it's in your personal life, it's about home and family and education and children, and not cooperative children. Really, they'll be acting out and maybe not as demure and mannerly as the parent likes, but in a public venue, more about authority figure being like teacher authority. and squaring how children are acting out and not, or if it's not children, it's about people who are in a community together and they're not really being cooperative with each other. Sunday, moon enters Cancer at 3:59 a.m. and then immediately squares to Jupiter at, well, not immediately, in the afternoon, squares Jupiter in Aries. My nose is definitely being played with right now by Angelic Realm. And then I've got new fairy hair. I don't know if you can see it. Little sparkles in my hair. I got that at the Spirit Fair yesterday. It was pretty fun. And spent way too much on crystals and bead bracelets and things like that. It was fun, good fun. Sunday, Mercury opposes Jupiter, and Mercury in Libra opposite Jupiter in Aries. So that's, let's see, Mercury here opposite Jupiter in Aries. It's going to be a bit difficult. If you're Libra, you like to have things calm and peaceful and in partnership, but Jupiter in Aries is kind of calling it like it is, like that's the dynamic. Mercury wants to discuss things in the partnership, and Jupiter wants to change something, especially going back over an issue related to drive, expansion, transition, transformation, spiritual growth, identity, ego, sense of self, having maybe even an emergency. It is a transition energy in Aries, transformative through fire. So it could be trial by fire, stoking the flames of the air sign of Mercury in Libra. And so we're going to definitely see some conflicts because Mercury is going to speak their mind at this time. The electrical energy, whenever I talk about Mercury, it seems like I get a little more dizzy. Also, caffeine.
Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, in, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Up on a natural charge, boom, barrage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodger Brooklyn squad. 10 killer bees on the swarm. Rain on your dollar ass disco dome. You didn't even touch my skill. Gotta have one killer bee and he ain't gonna kill him. Shut that down, pass it all around. Lyrics get out quick, cement to the ground. NENC and then your 52 states. I get psycho killer, Norman Bates. I produce a slam. I was like, bam, jump on stage.
So unfortunately, I recorded a good portion of my reading. I forgot to turn the page on my book and I redid last week's reading. So we're gonna do this week's. What the heck? The light changed. We're gonna get rain. Wow, it's like the universe is definitely telling me it's in charge, and I know which planet it is too. Okay, Monday. I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly because I've already recorded almost a whole podcast. Monday, Moon in Cancer, square Chiron, sextile Venus, sextile Uranus, in conjunct Saturn, trine to Uranus. That means that we're going to have a bit of difficulty between male energy and mother energy, like children, boys, husbands, brothers, and mom energy, nurturing versus taking action. And this is the male wounding. So it could also, in a global sense, it could trigger racism. It could trigger insecurities in the male issues. And then we've got a sextile with Venus and a sextile with Uranus. So this is a bit more practical and down to earth. It is cooperative for women. It is bringing in a larger viewpoint for women and women's agendas. And then and in conjunct to Saturn. So the moon wants to be nurturing and at home and cocooned and secure, and it can pull back energy when challenged. Saturn in Aquarius is definitely going to be challenging to the point of sometimes the Aquarian energy will just toy with people because it doesn't want to be controlled. So Capricorn and Cancer, the axis of AXIS, the opposite polarity, is generally fairly controlling. So when it in conjuncts to Aquarius or Uranus energy, it's going to challenge it. So Aquarius energy in conjunct to the need to control around home, family, and career with Moon in Cancer is going to rebel. And so that's going to be what we see on Monday. And then Venus and Uranus are in Earth signs trying to each other. So there could be something emotional about what we have to go through in order to gain our own autonomy, especially financial autonomy. Tuesday, we have Venus trine Uranus, Moon trine Neptune, Moon opposite Pluto, Moon sextile Sun in Virgo, in conjunct to Saturn again. So that's this in conjunct with Venus, though, not the Moon. And then Moon enters Leo at 4:38 p.m. So let's just get to the early part of the day. Just after midnight, Venus trines Uranus. That's going to be overnight. Issues that may develop around being grounded, around having security, having a say, having things all in order. So something might shift overnight for you that can change when you wake up in the morning and be like, hey, what happened? That changed. Oh no. Moon in Cancer, trine Neptune. So that's going to be emotional sentimentalism, something around home and family. Definitely big time around family, domesticity. Something's going to come up that makes us feel sentimental or sad. And maybe it's a time of letting go as well, especially when 8:58 a.m. Moon, that's Eastern, Moon opposes Capricorn. Again, a letting go, something around authority, around structure, around mom or women. And then a sextile right after that at 11:57 a.m. Moon in Cancer sextiles Sun in Virgo. So what that tells me is there's a bit of a keep a stiff upper lip energy, as the Sun and the Moon are in very practical, pragmatic energies. And then 4:12 p.m. Venus in Virgo in conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So that's throwing in something around career or life purpose, around the collective that says, you know, we have another something you didn't know, or a bigger picture energy information that comes in, and that Venus has to kind of think on her feet and really integrate with that energy. And then after Moon moves into Leo at 4:38 p.m., it's going to be about children, creativity, gambling, risk-taking, leadership roles. And there's a sextile to Mercury in Libra. So it is the Moon talking about children and the cooperation with maybe spouses and parenting over children, that there is kind of a cooperative energy. Then Moon in Leo trines Jupiter in Aries. So there is a more fiery energy that comes in, and creative, self-focused, focused on self is what I mean. And the practical energy early in the day and workplace, and then later in the day it's more creative, fiery, fun, playful with children. Wednesday, UN International Day of Peace. We have a strong energy around fire, and that's Jupiter in Aries trining early in the morning. This is just before a lot of people are up Eastern time, 1:32 a.m. And that's an overnight aspect because that starts in Pacific time at 10:32 p.m. But Moon in Leo trines Jupiter. And so that's going to be, it's a fiery energy, like I said. So it's the unexpected. It's about children. It's about energy. You know, I'm going here, I'm going there. It's very ADHD kind of energy. And then we get a trine to Chiron in Aries, again, the male, and racism, men, aggression, all of that. And it doesn't necessarily mean there's negativity, but it's just male energy, divine masculine energy, and the wounding that has been being addressed in that realm. And then Moon in Leo, again, children, creativity, the usual suspects. Sextile to Mars overnight, so that's 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. Moon sextiles Mars in Gemini. So very playful, fun, driven. It can mean men are more aggressive or assertive, but may not see that energy in a, like it is playful, but they may take it too far. And, so it's just boisterous, masculine energy. It's kind of like a bachelor party, basically. And then the fall equinox on the 22nd, Thursday, happens at 9:04 p.m. And up until then, we have the moon in Leo, sextiling Mars, like I said, overnight. Early in the morning, 5:36 a.m. Eastern, it's moon in Leo squaring Taurus Uranus. So it's going to be a bit of a discord amongst leaders, amongst even children or creatives. So this is also drama, acting, artists, and fiery energy. So it could even mean fire, especially with Uranus Taurus. I would say that specifically on Thursday is an energy of fires burning, actual firefighters and fires around the country. And then we have 7:07 a.m. moon in Leo opposite Saturn in Aquarius. That's the air, and then taking ownership. In conjunct to Neptune at 3:57 p.m. Eastern. Inconjuncts are uncooperative, more discord energy between water and fire. And so that may mean, moon in Leo, it's again wanting to take the action, wanting to be the center of attention towards ego energy. The higher energy of moon in Leo is generosity, creativity. The lower energy is needing to be in the spotlight and being a braggadocio and more arrogant. So, every sign has their higher energy and their lower energy. So when people say this sign is, I don't like that sign because of this, that's the lower energy. The higher energy is embracing cooperative, positive energy, usually. And then the equinox, 9:04 p.m., you can do, an equinox event. The sun enters Libra, and then that means there's a conjunction of sun to Mercury in Libra. So it's cooperative, it's communicative. We want to talk about relationships. We want to talk about where we're going. What is the partnership doing? So it's a real strong energy around discussion of partners and thinking a lot about balance and cooperation, diplomacy, partnership. Friday, we have, again, overnight, the sun joins with Mercury. So that is the combust energy in relationships and partnerships. And then moon enters Virgo at 3:53 a.m. Eastern, 12:53 a.m. Pacific. And then Mercury enters Virgo at 8:04 a.m., 5:04 a.m. Pacific. And so then the moon and Mercury will both be in Virgo. The moon will join with Mercury not long after. And so it's going to be, well, it may actually, I take it back. They're not going to join conjunction because the moon enters first and will be out ahead of Mercury. Okay, moon goes out ahead of Mercury going into Virgo first, then Mercury comes in. So the emotions come in, and then the awareness of how we have to just kind of keep that stiff upper lip, which is moon in Virgo. And then Mercury in Virgo, of course, going from Leo energy, very boisterous, gregarious, friendly energy, down into much more practical, educational, doing your lists and working hard, nose to the grindstone. And so we'll go over Friday the 23rd with the next podcast on the 23rd. Anyway, that's the podcast this week. It may be a little short because I'm going to have to cut out a huge portion of what I recorded because I got the dates wrong. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. Take care. I'm going to post the next week's video through scheduling, so it will be there. I'm going to pre-record it, and then the week after that for the 30th and the 30th. Take care of yourselves. Cut me a little slack with the podcast because I will be out of town, but I will get it for you. Okay, that's all. Thanks. Take care. Have a good September. Bye. My nose is definitely being played with right now by Angelic Realm.
To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.